had to stare at my balls for like an entire week. Like I actually had no idea that they were just hanging out the whole time.
Crazy. Of course, dude. Of course the motherfucker did not have any briefs on and just straight up was giving full scrot to everyone that's trying to do a humanitarian aid mission.
I don't know.
Yeah, longest shorts in Australia, by the way. I mean, straight up, that is the longest shorts I've ever seen him wear. Let's get to where we left off in the Cuba story. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you guys like really cared about the Gideon situation. I don't know. Nope. Okay.
Our boats kind of suck, right? Like we either had to salvage like an old shit boat or pay a business an exorbitant amount of money to, you know, make up for the fact that, you know, their company will practically cease to exist after they do business with us. And we got a taste of that bureaucratic issue while we were fixing up these ships. And
for the record, this is the first 30 minutes was just like boy who's about to go to Cuba, basically literally and figuratively shitting his pants, and you know, flying to Canada, then to fly to Mexico so they can get on a boat. And then he trespassed and said to the cops, "I'm a millionaire." That's it. Okay.
The ship that we were meant to be on never arrived. Right? It turns out all this pressure from the US and their sanctions meant that our boat was being held up all the way over here in Progresso, 300 kilometers in the wrong direction. So Dan and I had to get a last-minute bus across Yucatan and gear up for a much longer sea voyage, if we were actually going to be allowed to set sail at all. Which is a pretty annoying situation to be in, but it was only exacerbated by the fact that the Mexican bus company chose the worst possible movies to play.
There are so many movies in the world. Why did the Mexican bus have to play the one of everyone dying at sea? What is this? I hate this. Also, these boats are so much better than ours.
And if that wasn't spooky enough, we got another call from Alex to scare us even more.
Trump's comments this morning where Trump was just saying, yeah, I can take it.
I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. I think I can do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth. They're a very weakened nation.
Are you saying that as your leader?
Oh, I hate it. It actually changes the way I look at Twitter now because everything I read scares the crap out of me. Like, hearing just like everyone's opinions on this thing is so upsetting. I'm just like, just shut up. Just don't talk about it. Just leave me alone. Like.
But we finally arrived to Progresso Harbour and it was time to see our boat.
I have not seen our boat. I've heard some horrible things about it, but I haven't seen it.
What's the best case scenario?
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. I don't even know what a good boat looks like.
What are you looking for here?
I want to see a local walk past and go, good boat.
But we finally arrived to Progresso Harbour and it was time to see our boat.
I didn't know he traveled without Alex. Yeah, Alex got cold feet. He got like actually scared and he didn't want to do it, which makes sense, especially considering the dangers of going on such a journey to begin with. There are numerous dangers for it.
I'm super excited. So much like improved from yesterday.
Oh, really? I like the smell of the paint. It's really overpowering the smell of the fish. Put like a fresh coat of paint on a fishing boat. You don't know what the actual offensive smell is, you know? It's good.
Whoa. The aid hadn't arrived yet, so we were getting busy, you know, cleaning up and washing the boat, and I thought I was doing a pretty good job and, you know, making myself useful, but I'd barely been on the boat for 15 minutes, and I managed to secure my position as the most useless crew member. Now, pay attention to this rusty metal shaft that goes down 2 meters into the engine room. Even though I'm filming it right now, in about 3 minutes, I'm about to forget all about it and walk into the boat with my head held high and just plummet straight down that hole.
I heard the sound and everybody yell out and said, that's definitely Alexa's falling down the hole. There's like 30 people here. What happened, Alexa?
I walked straight through the hole.
You gotta watch out for that. Oh man. You gotta be careful. You get really hurt doing that. Yeah. Oh man. Just like split your head open.
Yeah. That's crazy. That should not have happened.
While we're in this fishing village, watching all these fishermen trying to help us reverse park our fishing boat, something dawned on me.
I've been shitting myself for a week about the US and all these fishing boats. I didn't realize we're like exactly on a fishing boat. Like this is the worst kind of boat for it, isn't it?
This is where the tuna go.
Yeah, there's a little fish hatch.
Shut the up. Hold on. Sorry. Breaking news. Scoop o'clock from MS Now on the FBI beat, on the Cash Patel beat. FBI Director Cash summoned to the White House by frustrated Trump advisors today. He had to cancel his jet trip to see his girlfriend play at a country music festival in Chicago from the tarmac. Oh boy. Oh boy. Uh-oh. Come back to Valhalla, brother. And by Valhalla, I mean podcasting. It's time. It's time to get back to podcasting. You know it to be true. You know this is the right thing to do. Hayvan ya. Hayvan.
What I also didn't take into account is that the fishermen here all around us live with
My brother is knocking on the door like he's the goddamn police, okay?
the constant fear of getting bombed every time they set sail to do their jobs.
Murat! Hayvan gibi açıyorsun lan. Öyle kapı, öyle vurulur mu kapıya?
El mar, o sea, para mí el mar.
Se queda apoderado de todo ahorita.
Sí. Tienen a Cuba restringido y qué drástico es que qué mal los tratan. No deberían.
¿Y qué piensan ustedes de esa flotila?
De esta ayuda muy bueno, muy bonito.
Sí.
La verdad.
Ojalá lleguen.
Ojalá y porque pues he escuchado noticieros y todo que todo les quitan. No llega esa ayuda humanitaria.
Sí.
Ya han enviado muchos países. Lo ves a los pobres como los tienen.
It was actually horrifying thinking that these people risk getting blown up just for doing their jobs. And, you know, I felt awful until the fishermen started flexing on us about like how much
Hasan, if it were still Ottoman times and your dad was Sultan, would you take out Murat in a heartbeat? Not even a question.
better his boat was than our boat. And then I don't know, I felt kind of neutral about it after that.
Sí, no sabemos dónde dormir.
Hay como 10 para 25. Wow, todo madera, Sí,
Así es, muy bonito.
Vamos con ustedes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had to end our tour of this guy's much more comfortable and sturdier boat because our aid truck started coming in and it was time to somehow get 30 tons of food and medicine onto this.
Working.
You wish you did the boat? Fuck no. No, dude.
Sources tell MS Now embattled FBI Director Kash Patel canceled a trip to see his girlfriend in Chicago this weekend after top administration officials, frustrated with Patel, summoned him to the White House. MS Now senior investigative correspondent Carol Lennick will join us now. Carol, what else are your sources telling you? And can we just, Luke is always noting that we should highlight the reporting. And to be very clear, the reporting from our Carol Lennick and Ken Delanian says... Exclusives. Yes. It says the second misstep that people said was that extensive reports by MS Now and other news outlets about taxpayers footing the bill for Patel's globetrotting ultimately spurred formal questions from Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, a critical ally of President Trump.
Dude, the boat is sinking. Okay? That's it. And the rats are trying to escape. Ben de bunu getirdim sana. Ya evet. Al. Hey Hasan, I like your tie-dye. Thanks, it's my dad's.
It's one of the...
There we go.
Well, if we don't go now, then we're going to be illegal in Mexico. Oh, you learn something new about yourself all the time.
What are you learning?
I realize that when I'm actually scared, I need a poo.
You're like an octopus.
Yeah, I don't understand. I thought it was like a turn of phrase, like shitting myself.
No. Oh, there you go.
I can't stop pooping.
This is a journey of self-discovery.
I don't want to know that. It's so inconvenient. Imagine if I have to do something important in the future.
Yeah.
I would just have to poo myself.
Yeah, no, you can prepare for the scenario. Your low-fiber diet.
I'm about to have a baby. I gotta shit. You know, I go to my parents' funeral. I'm shitting, I'm not there. What am I gonna do on the boat? I'm just gonna be pooping the entire time.
Yeah, better the devil we know, hey?
I've never had an anxiety shit in my life. Fear of the food/water. Who could tell this boy? No, dude. He's afraid of getting lasered out of existence by an American naval asset. But yeah, that's what he's afraid of. He made it very clear because at this point, the Trump administration is just straight up blowing up boats in the Caribbean nonstop, and they still haven't really stopped doing it, but they were certainly doing it at its peak back then. So from his perspective, he's like, "What if we're next?"
Well, there you go. I'm stuck on the boat now, and whatever happens, happens. So I guess now's a good time to find out what the actual chances are I'll get blown up out here. Now, you might think the US is blowing up narco traffickers in the Caribbean, or you might think they're just killing random fishermen, and that depends a lot on what kind of media you consume. Now, if you're watching this from a boat in the Caribbean and you want to work out if a missile is heading your way, you could read through like every single news article ever written and sift through the bias to find out if you're being targeted, but time is of the essence in this scenario. So thankfully, today's sponsor, Ground News, has you covered. Ground News is a website and app designed to sift through political bias and make the news more transparent.
Ethical
So let's say
reacts.
I want to look up the US bombing boats in the Caribbean. You can see that 244 sources reported on this, with 28% of them leaning left and 19% leaning right. You can also see how reliable these sources are and who owns them. And if you click on one of the left-wing articles, they'll say that an overwhelming consensus of experts call it a crime against humanity and highlight the fact that the relatives claim the victims are just fishermen. But on the right, they'll report that the victims are narco-terrorists and console you that not a single drone operator was harmed when they pressed the kill button. My favorite part of the app is the blind spot feature, which shows you stories only reported by one side of the political spectrum. Without this feature, I'd have no idea that consumers of right-wing media receive nationwide updates when a random transgender teenager wins a race at a local Californian sporting event. As you know, I comb through thousands of sources to make these videos, and Ground News is the perfect tool to simplify this process and keep me informed. And you could be as well informed as me, right? You just need to subscribe today. So go to ground.news/boyboy, click the link in the video description, or use the QR code to get 40% off the unlimited access Vantage plan, the same one I'm using. So subscribe today and stay informed. Okay, now back to the video. Everyone was so excited to finally set sail, and for some reason, as soon as the boat left, I wasn't that scared anymore. It's kind of like the possibility of going home kept me in a state of panic, and now that I knew I had no choice, my mind just tried to shut off all the, unhelpful negative stuff.
I was pooping my pants out of fear like half an hour ago. And now I feel like I've never pooed before in my life. It's perfect. I feel really, really good.
Quietly confident, eh?
Yeah, I reckon. I'm not the kind of person that dies. No,
Never.
hasn't happened before.
What do you reckon is sailing life for you?
For now, in the harbour, the
Chat.
5 minutes of sailing we've done,
Stop coming.
I reckon I could do this the rest of my life.
Now, I knew we had a bunch of activists and journalists on board from around the world, but I felt
Stop coming, chat. Stop coming.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
a bit out of place seeing the caliber of journalism on this boat.
I should have brought a suit.
Yeah, your channel, you'd be much more legitimate.
That's fucking awesome. Is he gonna wear it the whole time?
But as we left the harbour, it got harder and harder to hold the camera straight. And eventually it got hard to just stand straight. And I realise now that I'm editing it, it's surprisingly hard to capture how unstable the boat was on camera because, you know, the cameraman is essentially being a human gimbal. Like here's an example. If you do this to a chicken, notice how its head always stays upright. You're watching this video through the chicken's head and everything looks much, much better from the perspective of the chicken.
It's hard to walk around, man.
No few legs.
Yeah. Are we gonna get used to it? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I need to hold onto a wall.
Apparently this is the easy bit.
No.
Yeah. I think the waves are gonna get fucked.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
At this point, I realised there was something I needed to do that I should have done while the boat was stationary.
Gotta put this on top of the boat.
You're gonna fall off.
I can barely walk down here. There we go.
Uh-oh.
I was pretty scared of flying overboard when I went to set up this satellite on the roof, but now that I'm editing the video, I'm actually much more scared about the fact that my dick was hanging out of my pants the entire time. Going through the footage is so bad because there's just like so many clips. Just so many clips of just my balls on the screen. And before we set sail, we got all our luggage. We ratcheted it up like down in the hull so it wouldn't fly around everywhere. But that meant that all I could really wear was what I had on, you know? And it was really stupid. So if anyone on the flotilla was watching this, I'm so sorry you had to stare at my balls for like an entire week. Like I actually had no idea that they were just hanging out the whole time.
Crazy. Of course, dude. Of course the motherfucker did not have any briefs on and just straight up was giving full scrot to everyone that's trying to do a humanitarian aid mission.
I don't know.
Yeah, longest shorts in Australia, by the way. I mean, straight up, that is the longest shorts I've ever seen him wear. Honestly.
Getting seasick and worried about getting bombed is bad enough without having to stare at my balls. Sorry. But back to the satellite. I got up on the roof and the waves were pretty nuts. Like I tried to keep my body, close to the ground, but the ground wasn't particularly stable either.
Fucking tradie shorts.
Very slippery. If we get intercepted by the US Navy, if I can get internet on this ship, then I can back everything up. And then they take us, they imprison us, whatever. But the footage, what you're watching right now, is going to be on the internet. All because of what we're doing right now.
Okay.
So if you're watching this, if you can see this video, it means the internet worked and we got it through. If you're not watching this, it means it didn't work.
Haas tasty, bet they stank good as hell. Bro, you need Allah right now. You need a copy of the Quran. You need to read the Quran. Wow, that is crazy. That is crazy.
But I had no choice, right? You slowly get used to the movement of the boat and
Nasty
learn to
little
stay low.
pervert.
And we set the internet up in no time, and I could get back to work backing up our footage.
What are you doing?
Just backing everything up, making sure it's everywhere. Everywhere. This one,
So where's that going?
my ass.
Okay.
Look how small it is.
Oh, it's teeny tiny.
Straight in my ass.
Do I notice a thing?
This one, on the front, in my penis. They're all these different options.
Oh, right, yeah. For your satisfaction.
I can have a good trip.
Now, the next challenge of the day, which is actually quite linked to me being scared on the roof, is needing to use this thing. Now, since the boat is constantly rocking back and forth, you need to secure the door while you're hovering over this seatless toilet. And if you're a socially minded person, you're probably going to want to flush when you're done. So you have to get this bucket and lower it over the side of the boat and fill it up with seawater before you even go in. Now, I used this toilet exactly once, like only on the first day. It was actually impossible to stay still, right? You're squatting over this thing, shaking back and forth, you're shitting everywhere. And it took me like 20 minutes to just clean up the mess that I made. And at that point, I made a vow that I just wouldn't poo ever again. And I'd just go mind over matter and just like hold it in for the next week. And it's not even about the sheer difficulty of like pooping. It's also the fact that you're just in this like stinky, confined plywood box. And
Yeah, to answer Chatter's question one more time, I'm glad that I flew in as opposed to doing this.
it just makes you seasick immediately. So
How much of this humanitarian mission documentary is just shitting? Come on, man. Of course, it's boy. Of course, it's like all of it. I suspect that when he arrives at Cuba, there's going to be a lot more shitting, perhaps maybe even some puking, but mostly a lot of shitting. He's going to talk about how his shit's changed dramatically when he started, eating the Cuban food.
Feeling constipated is way better than that. But it also became increasingly difficult to be inside the boat at all. Because it turns out the Alexeyevich Memorial shaft was left constantly open to stop the engine room from overheating, which meant that the kitchen and the bunk beds were just dense with this like noxious diesel fume. So when the sun started going down, most people tried to find some space to sleep on the floor outside, which was harder than we originally thought because, we loaded multiple pallets of solar panels on the deck. So it wasn't a lot of space for sleeping. If you're lucky, you'd get a hold of one of the few gym mats that were lying around and, find a spare spot. Or you'd make really good friends with someone who managed to secure a spot themselves. Now, it got surprisingly cold at night on the high seas, which is something I didn't know about and I didn't really plan for since, all our luggage was in the hull. So I was just stuck in short shorts and apparently with my dick hanging out, so I was very cold. Now, there was obviously a lot of water lapping up onto the deck and any smart person would have quickly claimed, the few dry spots on the ground, but I'm an idiot and instead I focused on doing this. At this point, it was getting really cold and all the good sleeping spots had been taken, but I managed to get creative and realized I could sleep on the edge of this wooden pallet if I just kind of squeezed myself under the ropes that were holding the stack of solar panels in place. And after a night of sliding back and forth and like constantly waking up to my head hitting the edge of the boat, the sun was shining and it was our turn to cook for everyone and I love cooking. Honestly, I felt pretty great. For a couple of minutes.
some with that flavour.
It turns out what I was tasting in that moment was stomach bile, and I'd completely emptied my insides. Now, it had been about 24 hours on the boat at this point, and I somehow convinced myself that I had some kind of like genetic immunity to seasickness, but I mean, obviously I was wrong. Either that or like the stress of the trip had cultivated some kind of reverse bulimia where I had to vomit everything out before I could eat a meal.
So hungry, I vomited everything.
Just in time, hey?
But I couldn't keep any food down. Once the seasickness set in, it was actually horrible. Like, it was so bad. It felt like you were hungover and like super dizzy, but you're also forced to be on like this 600-kilometer long roller coaster. And it's not like one of those cool roller coasters where you get to have fun and kiss. It's like a roller coaster where you also have to do chores the whole time. Like even just getting a cup of water is so hard. Like it involves like tightrope walking and like washing dishes and squats. It was actually fucked. Like, I was just counting down the 72 hours until we landed, just praying it would all stop. And I guess my wish kind of came true because it was that moment that the engine died. It turns out it was probably a faulty alternator. So everyone was scrambling for solutions, right? Like, some people were trying to jerry-rig one of the solar batteries that we were taking to Cuba, while other people tried to set up an old generator to power the battery. And I was trying to address the issue by just continuously vomiting over the edge of the boat, but none of that fixed the alternator. So we were all out of ideas. We were just stuck there, just floating aimlessly in the middle of the ocean for hours and not getting any closer to Cuba. But it was kind of nice. I mean, without the deafening noise of the engine, it was a little bit easier to just lie perfectly still and ignore the seasickness. I kind of feel like I reached a level of zen in that moment because I didn't realize at all that we were about to be boarded by the military. I woke up, tried to work out what was happening, but everyone I spoke to was confused. I went to my laptop and realized that my very special strategy of uploading everything online was a complete failure. I had like half a terabyte of footage and literally none of it was uploaded. I should have guessed by the fact that it took about an hour to just like check the news every day, but yeah, my footage wasn't backed up anywhere. And obviously you are watching the footage right now, so I guess I managed to save it somehow. But in the moment, I thought it was game over. So for the sake of immersion, I need you to pretend that you're not watching this video right now. You're thinking about this happening.
Hope it's one of the nice Navy ships. What do you reckon? It'll look friendly? I think it's smiling. I don't understand what's happening. He's like a shark. He came from that side, and now he's coming around there, and it looks like he's going to turn around this way as well. Just circling us until we get hungry and beg for mercy.
Thankfully, it was a false alarm.
Wait. You think any of the Cubans watched this and threw away the beans and stuff Pooh Boy brought? They were like, yuck, Pooh Boy brought this.
It turns out the captain had sent out a distress signal when the motor broke, and since we were in Mexican waters, a Mexican Navy ship came by to help us out, and after an hour or so, the engine was back on. Now, this would have been a relief because it meant we were back on track to arrive in Cuba in 3 days, but I had a chat with one of the Mexican Navy guys, and he said something completely different.
The Navy man just said if we need 5 days to get to Cuba, and our crew says we need 3, and we have like half a alternator.
So it might be 3 days, but it also might be 5, and also it might be even longer depending on...
There's something really funny about this because like a plane ride would have sufficed because you can put a lot more cargo in a plane.
How many times we break down and whether we can fix the problem at all. And the entire time I'll either be vomiting or worrying about dying or going to jail. Like, I kind of felt like I was in hell.
So on the day before interception came, the boat I was on Sumut Flotilla broke 4 times. It was 4 times engine failures. And when the engine stopped, it would be a noise like beep.
You have a plane? I mean, this is, I don't know the logistics. I guess it's like, this is probably much cheaper than a plane, let's be real.
Easy.
So this is easy.
Nah, it's not easy, but it's something like you kind of get used to. And if you want the mission to keep on moving, you just gotta take a light mood and work with it, make it work again.
Then why are all the ships stuck in the strait instead of flying? Really? You just compared like a ton of cargo to like millions of barrels of oil? That's what you that's what you're... This is a dinghy, dude. Like 30 tons of cargo.
That's it.
But look, whatever I'd been doing for the whole trip obviously wasn't working. So I thought, you know, I might try this like weird new South American thing called being happy until nighttime, because it was my turn on the roster to stay up and stand guard as the night watchman. You see, on the Gaza flotilla, they'd get attacked by drones at night, dropping bombs, starting fires, or even spraying weird, like harsh chemicals. It was up to me to wake everyone up if we were being attacked. But here's the problem, right? You look at this light in the sky, and you tell me whether that's a star or a passenger plane or a drone about to bomb us. Like, the sky is full of these things, and there's no decision that I can make here that isn't incredibly embarrassing, right? Either I'm the idiot who woke everyone up because he saw a star, or I'm the idiot who didn't warn everyone that we were about to get bombed. It was kind of shit either way, but I guess maybe it didn't matter. Like, I realize if I do get hit by a drone strike, I won't even know what happens. You know, I'll just be gone. It kind of made me wonder if any of the fishermen over the past year have been in this exact same spot thinking the exact same thing, like thinking they might be seconds away from being hit. You know, they're thinking about their family and all the things they've done in their life and just, you know, praying that God will accept them into the crystal clear waters and sunny skies of fisherman's heaven. Like, it's funny to look back at it now, but I honestly thought I was going to die and end up here. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, this video was such a massive risk. Like, not just for my own life, which, you know, I'm very attached to, but even just the fact that, you know, chances are we'd get intercepted and I wouldn't even have any of this footage at the end anyway. And the only way I can actually take these risks is thanks to our supporters on our Patreon. Thanks to you guys, I can take these bigger risks and make more important videos, right? And because I know the community is going to have my back if anything goes wrong. And outside of that, this is by far the most expensive video I've ever filmed. It costs a stupid amount of money to pull this off. So if you want to help us out with future videos like this, jump on the link in the description, and just for $5 a month, you can get a full-length exclusive video every month. Even if you hate me, it's worth $5 a month just to convince me to, you know, keep trying to kill myself. So it's a win-win for everyone. Like, you should just do it. Now, the rest of the days on the boat all jiggled together into one long haze. The sun comes up, it's on one side of the boat, and then a little while later it comes down and it's on the other. You wake up sleeping on a pile of ropes, wearing the same clothes you wore for the past 3 days. You try to distract yourself from the fear by, you know, filling up your day reading, playing Uno. The boat keeps rocking. Your mate Claudio, the 80-year-old Italian journalist, burns himself on the chimney, so you have to make a warning sign. You cook, you eat, you sing. You try to work out if that new ship on the horizon is going to board you. You wash yourself with the dangly exhaust hose that cools the engine. And then you're told we'll be arriving in Cuba tomorrow morning. The sun goes down on one side of the boat, and then it comes up on the other, and you wake up on a soggy gym mat in the same clothes you've been wearing for 4 days. And then you're told you're arriving in Cuba tomorrow morning, and the same thing happens the next morning. I honestly started to think maybe we had already been drone struck and we didn't even realize it, right? We were now in purgatory, and this was just our life for all eternity. Then one night, a bunch of tiny islands pop up on the radar, and in the morning, they pop up on the actual horizon. But, you know, I've been in purgatory for days, so I don't fully believe my eyes.
According to this, not in Cuba yet. No land. I don't trust it. I think the Americans are going to intercept us. It's too exciting. Dude. Don't sail towards it. It's a trap.
We decided to climb up on the roof and make sure these Cuban mountains were real.
You know what this place needs?
What?
The KFC. The KFC and some Trump towers.
Yeah, I think an Amazon fulfillment center would be nice.
Yeah, big AI data center.
I look at that and I see unrealized, you know, potential.
I see potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing land is so special to me because it means I get to food, a bed, a shower, ground that doesn't move. Although I had an earthquake like a few days ago. Like, that one's not so sure. But bed and shower and toilet definitely gonna happen.
It turns out nothing was definitely...
Why it takes so long to get there? Isn't Cuba like only 90 miles out the U.S. shore? Genuine question. They're going from Mexico.
Gonna happen because we just got news that a US ship had just moved to the outskirts of Havana.
You heard about the US ship outside of Havana?
Yeah, I'm telling you, if those Americans stop us, I will lose my mind. They could have stopped us at any point in this trip. They could have stopped us before we all threw up. They could have stopped us before we all spent 3 days in our own sweat and piss.
Sleeping outside on a wet floor.
But it turns out Cuba is a really, really long country. So that US ship in Havana will have to wait while we just sail along the coast for another 2 days. Until one night at 3 a.m., we saw some lights. It was so weird looking at Havana, like after staring at the sea for days. It dawned on me that we were actually going to make it now, which was a relief, but it was also incredibly sad because Havana's enormous, right? Looking at the size of this city spanning the entire coastline up to the horizon, I couldn't help but be terrified by the concept that there are millions of people in there that are living without the basic necessities. I guess at least we made it. This Coast Guard was the first Cuban I spoke to.
Sí, mucha gente, claro.
He asked if I'd been to Cuba before, and when I told him I came 14 years ago, he immediately told me I probably have a 13-year-old kid here. And I was honestly a little bit embarrassed to know that my kid's first impression of me will be this, a guy that looks like absolute shit, but whatever. We made it back to experience this brutal communist dictatorship once again.
They have a giant statue of Jesus.
Well, maybe it's all going to be okay after all.
Yeah.
We need to look for the things we have in common.
Yeah, we all love Jesus.
Hasan, you would have jumped if you were there, if you were on there. Oh my God. Wait, what do you mean?
There's a lot of people there.
Like kill myself? Is that what you mean?
You had your doubts, hey? Yeah, I was so sure I was getting on a boat to nowhere. Oh, what a horrible thought. Just lying there the first time, be like, I'm gonna die. Oh, llegamos.
I was so excited to finally end the seasickness, but no one told me about the land sickness.
I was so fucking dizzy, man.
It's a wobbly land. This is what happens with a destabilized country.
I was so disorientated and thirsty and confused, but one thing I knew for sure is that these Cuban delegates were about to shake hands with the stinkiest people they've ever met.
Gracias por invitarnos. As soon as I got off the boat, I feel how disgusting and stinky and sticky I am. It's like there's just like a different sense of stickiness. But just like 10 seconds ago, I was like, oh, this is normal. As soon as I get on land, I'm like,
part of the marine
I'm covered in
ecosystem.
gel. I'm like a fucking slug.
I feel more like a shell.
Oh, yours is crispy?
Yeah, mine's
wet.
dried off.
Mine's
Nice, you're going salamander.
Yeah. Crazy how much your mind ignores when you're on the boat. Like on land, I need a shit so bad. Like my whole body's just fucking...
Dude, this entire video is literally one collective journey about pooing. It's crazy. I wonder how many times he mentions the fact that he has to shit, he has shit. Wow.
My body hates me right now.
But it turns out we'd have to wait a few more hours before we could do any of that because all these people had come down at sunrise to welcome us.
When do I get to do a poo? I need to do a poo.
Now, I didn't realize at this point, but we also needed to unload the 30 tons we'd loaded up in Mexico before we could get any relief. But it was done, and we finally checked into our hotel room. We were staying at Hotel Presidente, one of the many kind of affordable state-run hotels in Havana. Now, the special thing about this place is that the US government won't let you stay here if you're a US citizen. You have to go to a private hotel, or else you could face up to a penalty of 10 years in prison and $1 million fine. But I'm Aussie, so I don't have to worry about that. All I need to worry about now is having a shit and a shower. And even though the energy crisis meant that there was no hot water and occasionally there was no water at all, it was still 1,000,000 times better than the boat, and I felt relaxed for like the first time in a week, until I checked my phone.
You know what the Pentagon's new operation for Latin America is called? Operation Total Extermination.
What the fuck?
Operation Doing What the Devil Says. Why would you call it that?
Totally, it's not very diplomatic.
Makes you a little bit scared being here. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Total extermination, but I'm here.
It's just so lame, hey? It's just so obviously just a computer game playing kid.
Yeah.
Has suddenly too much power, you know.
But if I thought the news on my phone was bad, it was even worse on Dan's phone when he tried to access his bank account.
You're blocked from online services because you're in a sanctioned country or region. And then, oh, well, like I need to buy a sandwich. See details. We are obliged to manage our international sanctions risk, so you cannot buy a sandwich.
That's so nuts that a random fucking Australian bank will just like...
Yeah, this is a part of the reality of the sanctions, is that you can be a country, you can be the bank of a country that has nothing to do with America at all. You could be an Australian bank who will refuse to allow you to operate in Cuba because it's a sanctioned country, because Australia, the bank is worried that America will punish them.
Like get rid of your account.
Yeah.
If you do anything here.
You cannot do anything. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll go and get a VPN thing. And then look, like I try to download this one. The App Store is unavailable in the country.
Oh, you got fucked.
Yeah, I can't even VPN. All I want is a sandwich. I'm sanctioned.
That sucks for you, dude.
Why don't you spot me something? Come on.
I got my VPN on time.
Come on, just a little bit.
You gotta look at
You're
it.
complicit in this.
Cuba's a communist country. That's why things are so bad right now. I'm gonna learn from Cuba's mistakes.
You're just sanctioning me as well.
No, you know what? I think the value.
I don't know how the fuck he even had. You don't really need a VPN, but I don't really know how the fuck he even had internet at all when he was there. I'll be honest with you, that shit was impossible. Like, it was genuinely impossible.
The value of money to you is actually so much more than it is to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna loan you the money.
Hotel Wi-Fi? Dog, I was in a hotel too. I'm telling you. The hotel Wi-Fi was always out.
If you want $5 now, you have to give me $50 in a month.
Right. It's like a World Bank loan.
Yeah. You have to change. You have to restructure some of this stuff.
A little bit of changes. I'd like you to organize your wallet.
Yeah.
A little bit of financial management.
Now, to be fair, even if Dan was allowed to access his bank account, pretty much all the ATMs are down because of the energy shortages. So since I'm the guy who, took out money before the trip and, I need Dan to hold the camera and not be dead, I decided I won't let him starve for now. But anyway, the rest time was over and we had to find our way to the hospital to hand off all the aid that we brought. So the problem was that the hospital was like 10 kilometers away and it's incredibly difficult to get a taxi with barely any fuel in the country. But luckily, with the help of a world famous soccer player called Xi Jinping, Cuba set up a factory just outside of Havana pumping out thousands of these electric tuk-tuks, in response to the US cutting off all fuel from the country. It was pretty strange getting our first actual glimpse of Cuba. The streets were so empty compared to 14 years ago, and because the fuel blockade made driving nearly impossible, you had to go for all these weaker vehicles that used renewable energy, like, these 2 horsepower tuk-tuks or this 1 horsepower horse. But we finally arrived to this children's hospital that specializes in cardiovascular care, and it honestly felt surreal seeing all this aid reach its destination. And something tells me the nurses couldn't believe it either. For the past couple of months, all I could think about was this flotilla, but somehow the only thing I actually thought about was the flotilla as a political stunt, right? Getting on the boat and exposing to the world that the US is killing people through their blockade of Cuba, and hopefully, inspiring people and governments around the world to take action. But I didn't actually think about the real people that are going to receive the aid that we're bringing. Like, there are children in this hospital whose lives are going to be dramatically affected by this, 30 tons of food, medicine, and solar panels that we filled our little boat with. And honestly, I hadn't thought about the real world impact.
Nos hacía falta. Ay Dios, ahora y me despertó.
Gracias a ustedes por venir. Ustedes están haciendo una cosa. Miren, no es solo lo que ustedes aporten. Están arriesgándose, vienen aquí a que después lleguen allá y lo puedan crear problemas, le quieran meter. Eso es una cosa que no tiene y nos da un estímulo para seguir que ustedes no se pueden imaginar.
It was actually so nice seeing where all our aid was going, but it felt like a drop in the water. The hospital was running out of everything, from like medications to medical machines to simple things like gauze and bandages.
En un hospital del país, donde un país hacen un reporte o dicen se rompió este equipo y no obstante viene el privado, dice bueno esta pieza cuesta tanto y al momento se lo ponen. En el caso de nosotros no es tan así. Nosotros tenemos que hacer una contratación, ver si no nos está prohibido vendernos al país por el tema del bloqueo. Entonces se encarece todo y se demora mucho más que cualquier aquí hacemos.
Yeah, there are entire fucking graveyards of perfectly fixable equipment in Cuba that simply will never be repaired because one tiny component was broken. And it's a proprietary piece of technology. And the company that they purchased it from has decided now that they're worried about American sanctions, so they won't send the components necessary to fix it. It's horrifying.
Estoy seguro que si no tuviéramos ese bloqueo fuera lo más rápido posible.
Tenemos dinero dinero a veces en los bancos y no podemos utilizarlo porque hay bancos en algunos países que no aceptan transacciones con Cuba.
Like, one of the most insane aspects of this, someone say your country deserves the Israel treatment for this. Yes, it's true. And if in a just world, we would be a pariah state in the same way that Israel is. I mean, after all, half of Israel's crimes is because we allow them to do it. And the other half is because we give them the weapons to do it. Now, one of the most insane aspects of this is that it's totally unnecessary. Okay? This kind of cruelty is unbelievably unnecessary. And as a matter of fact, there's an argument to be made about removing these setbacks and actually allowing Cuba to thrive, which could be beneficial for America as well. We just choose to be cruel to these people. Genuinely. And no, it's not Trump. This is every president, with the exception of Barack Obama, has continued this in some way, shape, or form. Barack Obama was the first American president that actually eased and allowed Cuba room to breathe, room to develop. It was actually a tremendously positive moment for Cuba's future. So as much as I shit on Obama, and I don't think he went hard enough, I've told you guys this already. I spoke to the Cubans, like government officials, and they literally, I was like, so why do you think Obama did this? And they were like, we have no idea. Okay. They don't even know why Obama did it. Like, they couldn't even believe it.
Making supplies and equipment is just like one of the many issues that they have to deal with here.
Man, he did that shit for his legacy on his way out the door. He didn't give a fuck. What are you talking about? That's not true. No, it was Ben Hamas Rhodes, for the record. And it was the only, and it was not, you're thinking of Biden. Oh, Biden.
Simplemente el hecho de no tener combustible para poder bombear agua en una ciudad y tener abastecimiento de agua en un hospital, y sabemos lo que implica eso, es un gran problema de salud, de higiene.
Hay que estar muy atentos al uso de combustible. Por ejemplo, hay un área que no es posible que esté encendida, que es la parte de las consultas y demás, porque el combustible hay que ahorrarlo para la forma general, porque tenemos una terapia intensiva donde hay pacientes.
Did Austinox edit this one too? Does it say? Because I feel like he's using the same exact subtitles that I use.
Gravemente.
And also the same soundtrack. Motherfucker, did you reuse the same soundtrack, Austinox? You son of a bitch.
Su estado crítico, y es necesario que se mantenga el hospital funcionando para la atención de estos pacientes.
La asfixia del bloqueo no solamente, obviamente, que trabaja personal, tengan dificultades inmensas, que vienen y que lo hacen a conciencia, porque en gran medida lo que les remunera en estos momentos su trabajo no es suficiente, dado la crisis que hay, para poder garantizar todo lo que necesitan. Y también va siendo escaso. Realmente se trabaja como si estuviera un país en guerra, pero sin bombas.
Ella es de provincia y el transporte está difícil. A veces no hay combustible para que se traslade ese paciente.
After seeing it in person, I really don't understand how anyone's surviving it. I mean, the blackouts mean that the doctors have to operate the respirators by hand throughout the night. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I can't actually see how they're going to keep this going over the next few days, like, let alone months.
No, I did think didn't go.
But the wild part is, even in the middle of this...
No, I did think was too scared to go.
...crisis,
no,
Cuba's still dedicated to making life-saving care available to everyone.
Ayıp lan ayıp. Hareket çekilir mi abi? Ulan abi olan benim. O benim küçük kardeşim lan. Ama aramızda 2 yaş var sadece. O yüzden yani hani pek bir fark yok amına koyayım artık. 30, ben 35'im, o da 33 yani. Olacak.
Y la atención de los doctores.
Don't reveal editor secrets.
Que compensa el mal rato que uno está pasando por la situación de los niños.
I mean, the fact that they still managed to keep healthcare free during this humanitarian crisis made me feel a little bit hopeful, right? Until I stepped outside and got a taste of reality.
Your video and his video should have voiceover for translations. Dog, I literally did that. My video has voiceover for translations. The fuck are you talking about? We did do that.
It turned out that one of the members of our flotilla, Tiago, had been arrested while flying home on his connecting flight in Panama.
I think the interrogation is so funny when, like, the entire thing is broadcast almost live, you know? Like, what were you doing? It's like, well, it's documented the entire time.
Look at my Instagram.
Yeah.
Right after that, we heard that the other 2 boats from earlier in the video were meant to arrive today, but they had completely vanished on the high seas.
Just on the phone with the Mexican authorities, they're launching like a search and rescue thing because no one knows where the 2 sailboats went.
Holy shit.
So they are trying to find them.
But is there a worry that something happened?
We just don't know.
It might just
We
be
just
taking
don't know.
some time.
But there was literally nothing we could do about either of those things, but, you know, sit and be scared. So we decided to walk around the hospital, and we bumped into this nice Swiss man, Franco Caval. He happens to be one of the best oncologists in the world. Like this man wrote the textbook on medical oncology. No, it was him. I checked. He's the guy who wrote it. As a world-renowned oncologist, he's particularly upset that Cuba is, you know, blocked off from accessing vital cancer medications that he helped create, right? So he spends much of his free time visiting Cuba and trying to help, but he struggles to find any European company that dares to do business with Cuba because they're so scared of the Americans.
Actinomycin is an important drug in the treatment of many cancers in children. Cuba was buying that in the past. There were worldwide 3 companies producing that. 2 of the companies were bought by the 3rd one, which is an American company. So for years, children with cancer in Cuba didn't have that drug because the US company didn't sell that. So that's one example, but there are very many.
But it's not just humanitarian doctors like Franco that visit Cuba. Apparently, Western big pharma CEOs are coming here too.
They were a little bit interested because Cuba has an important research part.
Yeah.
And they have developed also a couple of interesting drugs.
DFP mentioned you in their poll. Bro, they mentioned me in the negative messaging. Look at this. It's crazy. Data for progress. Next, voters were provided with likely attacks against each candidate asked to rate each statement's convincingness. El Sayed's statements attacked him for being a far-left radical with ties to Hasan Piker, being a candidate who would make headlines for the wrong reasons, not achieving results. Stevens showcased her as an establishment politician with ties to AIPAC, and Rogers showcased his affiliation with Donald Trump, branding him a MAGA Republican. Majority of voters found Stevens, 53, and Rogers, 53 statements on very somewhat convincing reasons to vote against each. Negative messaging against Abdul El Sayed, meanwhile, is viewed less convincing by a majority of voters as a reason to vote against him. Yeah, because ties to Hasan Piker is an incredibly stupid line of attack. That's why. I could have told you that. A majority of Michigan voters view opponents' messaging against Al Sayed as unconvincing. Finally, voters were provided with a final set of horse race questions and asked which candidate they would vote for. After attacks, El Sayed maintains his lead over Rogers and continues to outperform Stevens in a head-to-head against Rogers overall, with independents 51-39, El Sayed 45-41 Stevens. Young voters 61-35 El Sayed, 52-34 with Stevens, and black voters 71-23 El Sayed, 70-22 Stevens. El Sayed maintains lead over Rogers after negative messaging. Yeah, the biographies were, the negative statement was, El Sayed is too radical to be trusted as senator. Backed by another leftist radical, Bernie Sanders, El Sayed has touted his relationship with Hasan Piker, a left-wing political commentator, throughout the campaign trail, even after Hasan Piker was accused of anti-Semitism and saying America deserved 9/11. He has also pushed for extreme policies like abolishing ICE and Medicare for all. We need someone who will be focused on results, not making headlines for the wrong reason. Haley Stevens is an established politician who won't listen to the needs of everyday Michiganders, but will instead listen to corporate and foreign interests who are funding her Senate campaign. She's taken money from the pro-Israel lobby, AIPAC, and has received thousands of dollars in campaign donations to run advertisements across the state, something we've seen time and time again from politicians who want our vote, yet will do nothing for us while in office. I got this survey. Okay, how did you respond? You better have been like, I love Hasan Piker. I'm voting extra hard for Abdul. Mike Rogers is just another MAGA candidate who's advocating for a policy that will hurt our state. He's endorsed by Trump, and if elected to office, Rogers will continue the president's awful policies that have pushed the affordability crisis to another level. I mean, it's data for progress, so like the negative slant is, speaking of, here's a Trump Abdul voter.
All right, what's your name?
Ahmed Al-Riyashi.
Ahmed, what do you like about Abdul? You told me that you voted for Trump in 2024. We got Abdul supporters right here in Chandler Park. What separates him from other Democrats for you?
Well, one, for the Trump one, I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but there was reasons behind it.
All right, let's continue with the video.
Were then bought by Western companies. I know from a very important CEO of a very important pharmaceutical company who came incognito to Cuba. Nobody was allowed to tell that he was going
to see
what they are searching for.
So I'm standing there on the street talking to a world-renowned cancer researcher, and he's telling me that, you know, big pharma executives are entering Cuba secretly to like collaborate on research projects without the US government knowing. But it's all just kind of like difficult to believe, right? How does a Caribbean country, you know, it's blocked off from trading with the world, how do they become a biomedical powerhouse making insane discoveries like, you know, the world's only meningococcal B vaccine and luring big pharma execs with these breakthroughs? And, you know, all the other Caribbean countries, they're still stuck researching who that guy was who let the dogs out. It just doesn't make sense. So the next day, we decided to visit the Neuroscience Institute to see how it's possible that Cuba's pumping out all these medical breakthroughs under siege. Now, this institute was on the other side of town, so we were facing the same problem we'd face multiple times a day in Cuba, finding transportation. Now, after being on land for so long, I was honestly missing the diesel fumes of the boat engine, so I decided to splurge and get a real petrol taxi to take us to the institute. And we're going there with our mate Daniel. He's a Cuban journalist working for the independent media outlet Belly of the Beast. They do awesome documentaries and on-the-ground reporting in a place that's always like so saturated with fake news from mainstream media. So you can check him out in the video description. Now, Daniel joined our project as a producer, which is, you know, a stressful job at the best of times, but he was also doing it under the constant threat of being bombed by a foreign country.
Realizing that your future, the future of those around you, ends up depending on, you know, individual decisions of people that, in all honesty, couldn't give two shits about any of you.
Yeah.
It's daunting.
Yeah, sounds terrifying.
The idea
Belly of the Beast are heroes, dude.
And the idea of an armed invasion running through my mind. You know, I keep having nightmares about it.
Cuba sounds like an amazing place. You can walk around the street, just bump into the world-renowned doctors, top-viewed streamers, and Jeremy Corbyn, all while just trying to find a place to poo.
If they start bombing, I'm dead. A lot of people are aware that this is a real possibility, and those who are thinking it like that would be like, there's not a single one that would say, hey, yeah, sure, they should bomb Havana. Like, you know, that's not a thing. Like, sure, I hope the government changes, right? But bombs and bullets, they have no names. You know, once the shooting starts, no one's, you know, stopping and say, oh, let's see if this guy was a communist.
After that fun chat in the taxi, we finally got to the Neuroscience Institute to meet up with Dr. Mitchell Valdez Sosa.
Don't panic if there's a power cut.
That's my guy.
The elevator will have no...
That's my goat. Dr. Mitch. This guy is fucking incredible.
problem, and we'll just wait.
We can do the interview.
He's not my guy. He's the guy. Oh my God, that is sick merch.
All right, yeah.
Perfect.
This was the very first medical equipment manufactured in Cuba. A Cuban computer.
It turns out Cuba became a research hub thanks to this computer and a guy called Irwin Roy John, the father of
to harm a country. But you're also harming your own people. It's absurd. It's absurd.
This US policy of suffocation only really has one explanation.
They don't like the Cuban example. This is fractions of a cent.
Yeah.
We provide our people with medicines at extremely low prices. In the US, the whole pharmaceutical industry is profit-driven. And this is the gigantic lobby. So this example of socialized medicine and preventive medicine, it doesn't fit into their profit-driven ideas. And
I love this man so much.
The US has been doing this for the past 60 years, and it's crazy to think that these doctors and researchers are still making scientific advancements with like an economic blockade and rolling blackouts. And we were about to experience a really big one that night while we were having beers with our 80-year-old friend Claudio at the hotel. It was pretty freaky, but sadly this was business as usual for the Cubans, and everyone was ready with emergency torches and emergency orchestral instruments.
Is someone just playing the flute outside in the middle of the blackout?
Yeah, Cubans get down. Fucking JBL speakers, blasting music in the street, no electricity. Everything is pitch black darkness.
Oh, there's a car coming. Someone's got a light. This would be so creepy if it wasn't for the flautist.
It turns out some people are even more prepared than the flute player, and they have their own backup generators.
Will our key cards... Oh, there we go. Hey, nice. I was wondering if our key cards will open the lock to the door.
Now, we've never been in a citywide blackout before, so we took this opportunity to scope it out. Occasionally, you'll stumble upon a private business that managed to get a backup generator going, but generally it was just pitch black. Like, I can't imagine going through this multiple days a week. I mean, we barely found our way home in the dark. But we woke up to some even worse news the next morning. Our two boats were still missing.
It's quite scary. And then you think of all those songs we were singing.
About dying at sea. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, I hope they're okay.
Yeah, and I think the thing that kind of got me today is that they did a search and there was no one. Oh, there's nothing we can really do.
Yeah.
Just wait and see and hopefully they come down to that harbour over there. To the end of this street, and then we go give them big hugs.
Now, to get our mind off of our potentially dead friends, we decided to, talk to some people whose lives were comparatively worse to make us feel better. So we went to Centro Havana, one of the poorest parts of the city, to see how everyday people were living under the blockade. We thought the best place to start was at the community medical center to speak to Dr. Roxana. She agreed to chat with us about how the community was dealing with the blockade, but I also realized I had an opportunity to get free healthcare, so I wanted to get that sorted first.
Usted pregunte y aquí estamos para aclarar todas sus dudas y...
Primero tengo una tos.
Roxana, dile la verdad. Dile que tienes por qué.
So apparently there's one of these community clinics every couple of blocks in Cuba, and they're actually community doctors, right? They spend half their day in the clinic like a normal GP, then they spend the rest of their day going around doing
you have deadly IBS.
routine checkups at people's houses. So your average Cuban will have a GP visit them every 2 when they're sick, but like all the time. In Australia, we got so much money and resources, but you'll never, ever get that amount of attention from a doctor. I'm lucky if I get 5 minutes with a GP when I'm sick, let alone if I feel perfectly fine.
Yo tuve un problema en Australia hace 20 años. Yo fui enfermo cada vez y no sé por qué. Y fui al doctor y hacemos muchos... El tema fue que yo no he parado de tomar por un año. Y por eso fue enfermo cada vez. Pero el doctor no ha visitado mi casa y por eso no sabe que yo soy tan sucio.
Por eso es fundamental, tienes que ver al paciente íntegramente con todo. Lo tienes que ver con todo, porque hay enfermedades psicológicas que te afectan orgánicamente, hay otra parte psicológica. La higiene es fundamental para todas las demás enfermedades. Entonces todo tú lo tienes que ver todo en conjunto, que es la base de todo el Sistema Nacional de Salud.
I was honestly amazed by the Cuban health system, and frankly I found it embarrassing that a country with nothing can offer their citizens much more than a rich country like Australia. But this phone call that interrupted us was an instant reminder of the reality of what they're going through under the blockade. Just like the hospitals, there were barely any medical supplies left.
Yeah, Americans also unironically think that the Cuban government is just refusing to give people medicine. This is... with how little they have, I am confident in saying this is one of the greatest medical systems on the entire planet. Okay, and the saddest state of affairs is that because there's no diesel, there's no fuel for logistics, and no electricity to keep medicine in cold storage as is necessary, they can't even move this product around. They have some of the precursory chemicals. They can't make the medicine in factories because they just don't have oil. And on top of that, they just can't ship out medicine in general. This is, of course, stuff that they have to make on the island regardless, because it's very difficult to also purchase medicine from other countries.
Left in the country. And everyone's just trying their best to get a hold of some. We decided to follow Roxana around that day while she did her house visit.
They could, but they want to be hostile. Attention doesn't equal treatment. They could, but they want to be hostile. Cuba wants to be hostile. To who? They're just hostile by existing? Is that what it is? There's one country that's hostile in this scenario. It's the United States of America. How can you look at this stuff and just be like, yeah, they're hostile, so they deserve it? Some of y'all are... Amer-Israeli, I wish you a faith far worse than the one you're comfortable wishing upon others.
Get a better feel of how regular Cubans are dealing with the unfolding humanitarian crisis. The first patient...
I hope you suffer alone. You know he's already suffering alone. No one who isn't suffering alone would come evil thing to say.
Was Glenda, a 79-year-old woman who was diagnosed with diabetes. And after her checkup, she agreed to chat with us about, how she's been dealing with the blackouts.
¿Es posible saber cuándo no vas a tener
hay veces sí, hay veces. La mayor parte de las veces la empresa eléctrica no puede pronosticar porque no sabe.
Sí. Pero para mí es muy difícil aprender cómo funciona esto.
No, lo difícil es saber por qué no reímos todavía.
Pero sería difícil todo, por ejemplo, si no hay corriente, ¿cómo se cocina la cena?
Exactamente. Entonces, ¿qué es lo que hacemos nosotros? Cuando viene la corriente, hay que levantarse a resolver ese problema. Hacer los frijoles, esto, lo otro, para que sea nada más.
Y eso puede ser a las 3 por la noche.
A las 3 de la mañana, no. Puede ser cuando sea.
Dice, a eso le suma el agua. Tienen que entonces, esa es otra.
Por ejemplo, para lavar hay que tener en cuenta, uno, que hay agua. Porque aunque haya agua en la cisterna, si no hay electricidad, para poder impulsarla. Dos, que el motor sirva, porque esa es la otra historia. Y tres, que hay electricidad. Hay que conjugar las tres cosas. Y a veces, no. El otro día estuve 2 días con la lavadora de ropa sin poder lavar.
It turns out Glenda was 13 years old when the revolution happened, and because she knew how to read and write as a teenager, she volunteered to go teach in the countryside as part of this, sudden nationwide push to eliminate illiteracy. And what she saw in the Cuban countryside in 1960 broke her.
Y ahí me di cuenta qué cosa era realmente el capitalismo. Por los campesinos sin ropa, los niños con las barrigas llenas de parásitos, la situación tan grave que había es donde yo alfabeticé, que ahí la situación era morirse de hambre. Era la realidad que se vivía en ese momento. A mí se me murió en los brazos un niño de 2 años por asma. Eso fue un golpe para mí tremendo. O sea, yo tengo eso grabado en mi mente. A mí no hay que me haga cuento de que buenos son los americanos, ¿no? Ni el capitalismo, mentira. Eso es cuento.
I noticed this weird souvenir clock she had on her wall as well, and it turns out she's experienced capitalism more than once. In 2009, the South African government was giving out flights to people who wanted to volunteer in local communities, and she obviously jumped at the rare opportunity to, see the world that she'd been locked out of.
Pero date cuenta que en Sudáfrica yo fui a una comunidad que tenía 500.000 personas viviendo en casucha, con las mínimas condiciones. Increíble eso, era algo. Y uno de los problemas que tenían ellos más complicados era que no sabían cómo enterrar a los muertos, porque era muy caro. Y entonces las comunidades tenían un consejo que tú tenías que pagar todos los meses para cuando te muriera, te pagaban el entierro. Y entonces cuando yo dije allí, ay, pero si el entierro en mi país es gratis, dice, ¿cómo que es gratis? Pero si es gratis, dice, no, aquí no, es horrible. No sé allá en Australia cómo será.
Se puede sacar, ¿cómo se dice? Insurance, seguro.
Seguro.
Sí, puedes sacar seguro para cuando fue. Eso es algo popular, ¿no? ¿Saben? Hay comerciales en televisión.
Muy caro.
Tienes que sacar seguro para morir.
It's like if the average salary is like $20 a month and a bag of rice costs $12, how is it possible that anyone's surviving? And I asked this question to every Cuban I met, and every person had pretty much exactly the same answer. They all told me that they had no idea either. It's crazy. Like a couple of days later, we found out that our friends weren't dead, which is, it's a massive relief. And the rest of our humanitarian aid made it to Cuba. And obviously the Cubans were ecstatic that, someone out there cares about what's going on. But the reality is that what's on those tiny little boats can only go so far. Like, things are getting really, really bad in Cuba. Like, people are dying and everyone else is just living on borrowed time. And this was the point of the blockade for the past 60 years. When enough people starve to death, the Cubans won't have many options left, right? They'll get desperate and they'll eventually dismantle the socialist system they've built. I mean, unless the US gets bored of waiting and invades them first. But either way, the mafia will get their cities back, the plantation owners will get their slaves back, and the US will get their sugar companies back. And the people of Cuba, they can look forward to becoming just like all the other capitalist third world countries around them, like Haiti and Dominica, or even Puerto Rico, right? Which is actually part of the US, but they haven't had a functioning electricity grid for the past 9 years anyway. Like, these countries experience some of the worst living standards in the world, and their lives are about to get much worse because the US recently kicked all the Cuban doctors out of the third world as part of the blockade. So I guess Haiti doesn't have any healthcare now either. And it made me think about all these places from, Haiti to Somalia where, people can't afford food and everyone's slowly starving to death. In all these places, it's kind of really hard to even work out where to start, right? Like, how do you fix this? Who's going to invest? What would they even build there? Is it going to go to the right people, right? But the tragedy of Cuba is that they've already set everything up on their own. You know, they got world-class healthcare. They've got the infrastructure and the know-how. Like, the only thing we need to do is just stop fucking with them. You know, like literally the only thing the world needs to do is just treat them how we treat any other country in the world, right? Let them buy food, let them buy fuel, let them buy medicine. Just let them sell stuff. I don't know. We just need to be normal. At this point in the video, you know, I'd usually provide a link, right? Like, I want to share a fundraiser for Progresso International that's planning to bring more aid boats to Cuba, but the US has sanctioned them too. So honestly, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't usually say this, but I'm completely out of ideas. It's up to you guys. Like, you need to do everything you can to stop your governments from killing these people.